Weird sciencey facts that boggle my mind. Now, if I were to mention an ant farm, what comes to mind? Probably that little plastic box you had as a kid that you could fill up with dirt and then put ants in. Then, you could see as they made all their little tunnels and colonies through it. It was really cool until you knocked it over and then they were no longer in the plastic box and you had a problem that could only be solved with Raid. But what if I told you that there was real ant farms? Or at least farmer ants. We all know that ants are the little laborers of the animal kingdom. If there was ever a blue-collar insect, I don't think anybody would dispute that it's the ant. And there's probably no more iconic imagery than ants going about their busy work than the leafcutter ant, marching in their long lines across the forest floor carrying their little chunks of leaves. And like me, you probably assumed that these little ants were carrying these leaves back to their colony for food or maybe nesting. But that's not the case. It's fertilizer. Because leafcutter ants are farmers that grow fungus. Like a crop, that they give the fungus the leaves, and the fungus grows on the leaves, and then they harvest the fungus and eat that. So they're little miniature mushroom farmers. That's what leafcutter ants are miniature mushroom farmers. And when a queen leafcutter ant goes off to start a new colony, she brings fungus from her original colony with her to cultivate in the new colony. And if you think that's crazy, there's other types of farmer ants called herder ants. And as their name would suggest, they have livestock. So a lot of people are familiar with aphids. They're little insects that ruin your garden because they eat the little sugary pieces out of your leaves. Just so happens that aphids secrete a sugary substance called honeydew. We all know from that time your kid left his sucker under his bed that ants like sugar. So it'd be like a logical assumption that, hey, maybe the ants would seek out and eat the aphids because they're sugary, right? No, not what they do. They just went straight up goat herder, basically. They literally herd the aphids into, herds, including taking all the aphid eggs with them and keeping that with the herd. And then they herd them to the undersides of leaves where they can't be seen by predators because aphids are stupid and would just go anywhere. And then they keep them there while the aphids graze in a tight little herd. Then they milk the aphids. They stroke the back of the aphids, and that encourages them to excrete the sugary substance into their mouth. See, this is a crazy evolutionary behavior not really demonstrated by any other species except for humans. And they've been doing it for 50 million years. For example, humans started farming 10,000 years ago. Just when you thought people were the masters of agriculture, ants have had us beat for 49.99 million years. And they don't even have tractors. So the fact that the most important practice in the history of civilization, agriculture, the foundation and the heartbeat of all human civilization, was mastered by some insects 48 million years before humans even existed, well, that is pretty mind-boggling.